Hello and welcome to Wasted Potential, where we discuss the wasted potential of our favourite plotlines. Yeah, you can stop asking me about this one now. If you don't know what this is, check out the episode on the MK9 DLC characters for the rundown. This time we're talking Injustice 1. Our DLC characters are Lobo, Batgirl, Scorpion, General Zod, Martian Manhunter, and Zatanna. As with Freddy last time, Scorpion is split off into his own little story. He gets an adaptation of his role in MK vs DCU, reusing cutscenes with the Injustice models and stages. First he arrives in the DCU and fights Batman in the Batcave. Then we jump forward to Scorpion's chapter to fight Joker in Gotham, Wonder Woman on Themyscira, and Superman in Metropolis. Then he fights Shazam at the Strikers Island prison, Lex at the Hall of Justice, and Flash at the Fortress of Solitude. Obviously, voice acting for the DC cast would need to be redone since all the voice actors are different, so it might have to be trimmed down to 4 fights realistically. But let's just imagine for a minute that this was all feasible. Sounds pretty sick, right? The rest are part of a side story in the main Injustice narrative. Martian Manhunter is dead in the Injustice universe, but his ending claims he secretly survived, so we could use that, or have Jean be pulled from the Prime universe. The story begins with Jean leading a team of Batgirl and a few background heroes like Mr. Terrific. They've been called to the Fortress of Solitude to deal with an intruder who turns out to be Lobo. Jean fights him and is about to slap power dampeners on him when the entire group is brought via magic to the Regime universe by Zatanna. She's been in hiding since a previous battle between the Regime and Insurgency. She's brought these heroes through to help fight Ubermensch. Lobo manages to escape with some gadget or other. Zatanna takes the newcomers to meet with Oracle in a secret base. And yes, I know that in the comics by this point she was Batgirl again, but this hypothetical DLC would exist long before that was written, and the game dictates the plot of the comic, so shut the fuck up. They explain the state of this world and why they're here. Zatanna's spell has a time limit and they'll be sent home once it expires, hence why Lex's device was used instead for the main team. They won't be meeting with the main team because theirs is a secret mission that they can't afford Superman to know about. During the meeting, they come under attack from some Regime members, which incapacitates Jean. Zatanna fights Hawkgirl and we get some actual characterization to explain Shiera's reason for working for Superman. Her ending claims mind control, but I don't believe the prequel comic ever brought it up. Barbara fights Bane, who is surprised by her being Batgirl again until he sees Oracle and realises she's from the Prime Earth. She narrowly avoids getting her back broken by him. Once the villains are dealt with, the heroes evacuate to find a new base. Meanwhile, Lobo has gone deeper into the fortress, figuring Superman will have tech that can get him home. Here, he's confronted by Grundy. In the fight, the Phantom Zone projector is damaged and Zod is able to escape. He then beats Lobo down and leaves to recharge his solar battery. Back with Jean's group, now that their presence is known to the Regime, they have to act fast. The goal is to take a Phantom Zone projector in Aquaman's possession. Arthur's condition for joining the Regime was to have one as insurance. The plan is to get it for Bruce's group to use against Clark. At the same time, Clark offers Lobo a deal. He'll send him home if he brings him the heads of Joker and Harley Quinn. Jean and Z head to Atlantis where Jean beats Aquaman to get the projector. Z also fights Raven, who is here delivering it. Lobo arrives at the asylum where Joker is being held. He easily bats Harley aside and fights Joker. He's about to kill Joker when Lobo appears. The Regime version had a series of altercations with Harley in the comics, so he wants to settle the score. Prime Lobo's having none of it since he wants to get home. They have a fight and even the player doesn't know which one they're playing as. Both go down and Harley has Joker relocated. Zod, now recharged, comes under attack from the defences of the nearby watchtower. He forces his way inside and fights Cyborg, who was in control of the defences. He plans to use the satellite to bombard various sites on Earth in revenge for being imprisoned by Kal. Billy and Barry confront him, but he throws Billy at Barry to incapacitate him, then beats Billy in a fight. Jean and Z return, but Damian, Selina and Hal have managed to find them. Barbara fights Damian, stunned by him being on Superman's side, but actually hearing him out with regards to Dick's death. The others' fights are interrupted as the place is bombarded by the Watchtower. Thanks to Babs and Jean, a ceasefire is arranged so they can stop Zod since they all want to save innocent lives. They head for the Hall of Justice to access the teleporter. On arrival, they find automated defences sent by Zod to stop them. Barbara, Damian and Selina stay to fend them off while Jean, Zatanna and Hal head up to the Watchtower. Some of these defences take the form of robots based on various heroes. Zatanna fights a robot Diana, then helps Jean wrap up his cutscene fight with a robot Superman. Back at the Hall of Justice, Damian has a bad time against a robot Dick Grayson, but Babs is able to save him before fighting a robot Bruce. With the Watchtower bots dealt with, only Zod remains. He has Zatanna taken out with surprise turrets since he's vulnerable to her magic. This leaves Jean to bookend the tale by fighting Zod while Hal deals with the turrets. Once Zod goes down, Hal brings up the projector and with help from Jean and Z, manages to get Zod back in the Phantom Zone. Hal then destroys the projector to keep them from using it against Superman. Z comments that he could have used it against the two of them, but Hal says he'd never put such good people through that, helping to showcase his good side to make his defection in the final chapter work a little better. Hal comments on it feeling good to fight alongside J'onn and Z again, but says he can't allow them to seize the Watchtower for the insurgency. J'onn says he can't let the regime keep it. The fight is interrupted as Lobo collides with the station, shattering the window and getting the others blown out into space. It turns out that Lobo's failure infuriated Clark, who threw him into space. Z teleports herself and J'onn back to the teleporter room so they can escape to Earth, while Hal seals up the hole and regains control of the satellite. Barbara absolves Damian of some of his guilt for what happened to Dick, just as Sinestro arrives with the group to deal with the intruders. Selina and Damian stick up for the three who just stopped Zod from doing serious damage to the regime. He doesn't care, so he tells his men to take aim. Just in time, the spell's effect runs out, returning J'onn and Barbara home. Z teleports out alongside them to make the regime think she was from the Prime Universe as well to maintain her faked death. Oracle gets a pep talk from Mr. Terrific before he returns home. It wasn't all for nothing. They kept a lot of the regime's best fighters busy while Bruce's team made strides in their own plans, which will ultimately spell the end of the regime. This one was tougher to come up with since the DLC villains have no allegiance in this conflict, forcing me to get creative with their roles here, since I couldn't have them be members of the regime that were in service off-screen, a la Revenant, Nightwolf and Sindel in Aftermath. It occurred to me as I neared the end of writing this that an alternate scenario could follow these characters in the Prime Universe, keeping the peace and stopping Zod while Clark's group is trying to get Bruce's team back. Maybe I'll try to flesh out that idea someday. The next one of these will be the MKX one though.
Yes, but when will the next episode?
Anyone else? If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they too can get murdered like 12-year-old Billy Batson. No, I'm still not over it. Today's recommended video is fucking nothing. Very little Injustice content on this site is actually creative and not just intro compilations, generic gameplay, farming guides for the mobile games, or clickbaity bullshit. Support your local creative YouTubers, kids.